All right, should a player play in his or her own age group, or should the player move to a higher level of competition, especially assuming that the player is one of the better players in his or her current team? To me, this is a complicated and a complex question, and it depends largely on the individual. I think there are some considerations in terms of what the player's role would be on a current team versus moving to a higher level team. Specifically, at the high school level, when players are thinking about whether they should move to a varsity team versus a freshman team or a junior varsity team, my response is always if the player is not in the top six players on the varsity team, that they should stay down. Reason being is playing time. And I hear the reasons or the explanations all the time. Well, it's a better coach, so they're going to improve because it's a better coach, or they get to practice against better competition. Having witnessed a lot of high school coaches and practices, I'm unconvinced that being at a varsity team is that much better in terms of development than a junior varsity team. And I think the missing game time, if that varsity, or if the let's say a freshman moves to a varsity and is the ninth or 10th player and only plays maybe 5 minutes a game versus playing 30 minutes a game on a freshman or JV team, I don't think the difference in coaching and or practice can make that much of a difference in a short high school season. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that. There are some exceptional coaches that it's worthwhile probably to play for that coach, whether or not the player is receiving playing time. But on average, I would say it is more important for the player to play than just to receive, quote unquote, better coaching than the freshman or the junior varsity coach may be able to offer. Again, exceptions, but to me, that's the general. If you're not in the top six, stay down. For purposes of playing time. Now, if the player is going to be in the top six, so there is the opportunity to move to a higher level team, and from a basketball standpoint, it makes some sense, then I think the player needs to consider other aspects. So when it's an option, I don't think the decision should be made strictly on the basketball aspects. So playing time, role on the team, etc. I think players need to, and parents and coaches, whoever's involved in this decision-making process, needs to address the social and emotional and psychological needs of the player. So some players may be skill-wise prepared to play on a varsity team, but emotionally they're not ready to be around 17 and 18-year-old teammates. Maybe emotionally they might need to be with players of their same kind of age and developmental level, from a social and emotional standpoint. I think also for freshmen entering into a new high school and then moving on to the varsity, I think there should be some consideration of the social impact in terms of making friends in one's own class, as opposed to being put on a varsity team and maybe not having those friendships with people of the same age that they might if they were playing together with them on a freshman team. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the player has to play freshman basketball, but I do believe that should be a consideration. It shouldn't be an automatic, okay, this player's going to be good enough to be in the top six, therefore he or she must move to the varsity level. I think the minimum is, okay, this player could be in the top six if the player moves to the varsity level, but what else do we need to think about before we make this decision on whether or not that's in the player's best interest? And to me, again, the consideration should be beyond the basketball skills and look at the social, the emotional, and psychological impact of that move. And for some players, it's going to be the right move to move up a level. For some players, it might not be. For some players, might do better really excelling as a freshman on a freshman team or a junior varsity team or a frosh-soph team, whatever the school may have, and then moving up the next year with more confidence. and having been a really successful player for 1 year at the high school level. So there's a lot of factors that go into these decisions. And I think simply looking at the basketball ones doesn't take into account the complexity of talent development, skill development, and general maturation of an adolescent. And so, again, if the player is not going to be in the top six, to me it's an automatic no. No need for further discussion. But if the player is good enough, then I think we need to look a little bit deeper and see what's going to be in the best interest of that player. And again, some players, they need that push. They need to be at a more competitive level. They need better teammates. They need better coaching. They need better competition because they're at that level already. They're already better than the competitive level at a freshman or a junior varsity level. Other players, they could probably play at a varsity level and they could probably handle it emotionally, socially, but keeping them on a freshman team is really going to help them excel and gain confidence, and in the long run might be the better decision. So lots of factors, lots of things for coaches, parents, players to think about. Not just an easy decision, but multiple factors that go into what's the best level for a player to play at, based on skill level, size, strength, physical attributes, potential, and then the social, emotional, and psychological factors as well.